Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you all? Hope you all are doing well and having a great time at your home. This is your teacher Rosina of subject English language for class 5. I welcome you to another class of English language. So let's begin with the great name of Allah, who is the most merciful and beneficial. So today we will be starting the new chapter, chapter number 2, and the name of the chapter is Alice in Wonderland. So, this is a story of a small girl who goes to a place called a Wonderland. Now we will be read the story first, and I will tell you the meanings of the difficult words along with the reading. So let's read. This story is adapted. Adapted means that this story is taken from the book Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Now, this story is taken from a book, and the title of that book was, or the name of that book was, Alice in Wonderland, and it was written by Lewis Carroll. Most of Alice's adventures in Wonderland were told to three little girls and later written for Alice Liddell on request. Now, all of the stories in the Alice in Wonderland, they were the Alice's adventures. They were the adventures of the Alice, and they were told to three little girls, and then later on, after some time, it was written for a girl named Alice Liddell on her request. So she requested to write those stories, so then these stories were written for Alice Liddell. Down the rabbit hole. Now, Alice was beginning to get tired sitting with her sister near the bank. Now, Alice was sitting with her sister near a bank. Now, this bank does not mean the bank in which we deposit the money, right? It does not mean the account bank or the financial bank. This bank means the side of the river bank, right? So Alice, she was beginning to get tired sitting with her sister near the bank, means near the river bank. Now she was getting bored by sitting with her sister near the bank. She was quietly means खामोशी से, right, without talking or without making noise, silently. So she was quietly, silently watching the river. So she was watching the river, she was not talking. Her sister was reading a book which had no pictures and conversations, and her sister, she was reading a book, and that book, it did not have any pictures and it did not have any conversations. Alice thought that it was very unusual. Now, the books usually have the conversation, right? Conversation means when two people talk to each other. When two people are having a discussion on something, that is called as conversation. So what is conversation means? Conversations mean when two people are having discussion on a certain topic. So that book, it did not have any pictures and it did not have any conversations, and Alice thought that this is very unusual. Out of boredom. Boredom means that she was getting bored. So out of boredom, Alice thought of making daisy chains, but it was really hot. Daisy is a kind of a flower, right? So she thought to make daisy chains. She thought that she will make the chains like she was thinking of making a chain of a daisy. In our childhood, if you remember, and even now, you might be doing this activity that you make the bracelet of flowers, right? You just take the flowers and you pass it through the thread, right? So you pass it through the thread and you make a bracelet, or you make a chain, or you make some kind of jewelry with the flowers. So she was thinking of making a daisy chain, but it was really hot. To her amazement, surprise, she saw a white rabbit with pink eyes pass by her. So, to her amazement, to her surprise, she saw that there was a white rabbit and it had pink eyes and it just passed by her. The rabbit was talking to himself. Now the rabbit, it was passing by her, it was passing by the Alice, and that rabbit was talking to himself. Talking to himself means खुद से बातें कर रहा था. He said, oh dear, I am going to be late. So what was he talking? What was he saying? What was he saying to himself? He was saying to himself that I am going to be late. The Duchess. Now, what is a Duchess? Duchess is a wife of a duke. Duke, D-U-K-E. Duke, you can see he is a, in Urdu, we call it a Nawab. Right? So, the wife of the duke is called the Duchess. The Duchess is going to kill me. Now, from this conversation, we come to know that rabbit was going to the duke. It was going to the Duchess, and he was very afraid that Duchess will be angry at him, and Duchess will kill him, and she will be angry at him because he was late. He took out a small watch from his pocket to look at the time, and then he took out a small watch from his pocket and he looked at the time. Alice followed the rabbit and ended up in a big rabbit hole. Ended up means that she came to an end. So Alice followed the rabbit. She was following the rabbit. She wanted to know that where the rabbit is going, and ended up in a big rabbit hole. And then she found herself in a big rabbit hole. She was in a big rabbit hole. I hope you all know, the rabbits, they live in the hole in the ground. ठीक है, वो जो ज़मीन के अंदर जो सुराख कर देते हैं वो उसमें रहते हैं. The hole was deep, and Alice soon realized she was falling deep into the big hole. Now, the hole was deep, right? The hole in which the rabbit was going, it was deep, and Alice soon realized, उसे जल्दी ये बात realize हुई कि she was falling deep into the big hole, that she was falling, वो उस deep hole में गिर रही थी. Down. Would she ever stop? Now she was going deep in the hole, and she was going down and down and down, and she was thinking that would she ever stop? Would there time become that this hole will end and she will stop? I must have fallen to the center of the earth, Alice thought. Now she was thinking that she must have fallen to the center of the earth, because the hole was so deep that she thought that she might have fallen to the center of the earth. Suddenly she landed with a thud. Thud means, thud we use for a sound. Like when you fall on a ground, there is that thud sound, right? So suddenly she landed with a thud on some dry leaves and sticks. So at the end, when she stopped, she landed, right? So she landed with a thud on some dry leaves and sticks. Alice jumped to her feet. Jumped to her feet means वो जल्दी से खड़ी हो गई, right? So she jumped to her feet and saw the rabbit hurrying down a tunnel. So when she stood on her feet, when she was standing, she saw that rabbit, it was hurrying down a tunnel. टनल कहते हैं सुरंग को. अगर आप लोगों ने कभी, if you have ever noticed, the train, it goes through the tunnel, right? So that the path under the ground, it is called as the tunnel. So when she stood, she was standing, and she saw that rabbit was going down a tunnel. Soon Alice found herself standing in a long, low hall. Now she found herself that she saw that she was standing in a long, low hall. Low hall because she was down under the, she was down inside the earth. So she was in a hole. There were many doors in the hall, but all were locked. Now in the hall she saw, hall means a room, right? A big room. So she saw that there were too many doors, but all the doors were locked. In the corner, of the hall, there was a little table with three legs. Now she found that in the corner of the hall there was a table and it had three legs. A small golden key, you can see here, a small golden key was on the table. Alice looked around at the room and thought. Now, looked around means अपने इर्द गिर्द देखना. So Alice looked around the room and thought. Then she thought, "Oh, I would like to go inside." Now all the doors were locked, and she wanted to go inside. So she said that I would like to go inside. However, she was too big for the tunnel. Now the tunnel was too small, and she was too big for the tunnel. So she wished to be smaller. So she wished that she wished to be smaller. उसने दिल में ये ख्वाहिश की कि काश वो छोटी होती. She wished that she was smaller in her size. All of a sudden, जल्दी से, she saw a bottle on the table which was labeled "Drink Me." Labeled means there was a label on it. So you can see there's a bottle and on that there is written, there is a label, right? So all of a sudden जल्दी से उसने ये देखा कि एक टेबल पे एक बॉटल पड़ी है और उस बॉटल पे एक लेबल है और उस पे लिखा है "Drink Me." She was sure that the bottle wasn't there earlier. Now she was sure enough that the bottle was not there earlier. Earlier मतलब ये कि she was sure, उसे इस बात का यकीन था कि ये बॉटल यहाँ पर पहले नहीं थी. She opened the bottle and tasted the liquid. Then she took the bottle, she opened it, and she tasted it. Right? She tasted the liquid. She liked it so much that soon she drank all of it. So she liked the taste of the liquid and she drank all of it. In no time, her size shrunk. Shrunk means that she got smaller. Her size shrunk and she was only 10 inches tall. Now, when she drank the liquid, she saw that in no time means very quickly. So in no time her size shrunk. She was small and she was 10 inches tall only. When she got small, she wanted to pass through the door to the garden, but she found out, or she realized that the key was on the table. Now, when she got small, now she was small and her size was small enough to pass through the tunnel. Now her size was now she was of the size that she could easily pass through the tunnel. So when she got small, she wanted to pass through the tunnel. She wanted to pass through the door to the garden, but then she found out that the key was on the table. But now she was small. Right, when she drank the liquid, she got small, and now the key was on the table, and her hand was not able to reach to the table that she could take the key. Alas, I wish I grow back in size so I can take the key. Now she is wishing that she might grow to the size she was before drinking the liquid, and that she could take the key. Magically, a cake appeared under the table. Now a cake appeared under the table, and on it was written, "Eat me." So magically a cake appeared under the table and it was labeled, "Eat me." Now she was confused and she ate the cake. Unexpectedly, the rabbit appeared from nowhere. So then unexpectedly, she was not expecting. All of a sudden, what happened that the rabbit appeared from nowhere. He was frightened to see young Alice, and now he was so frightened, he was afraid to see the young Alice. She had become a giant. See, she had become a giant. Giant means very big in size. Alice said in a quite shy voice. Now she said to the rabbit, "Please excuse me, sir," but the rabbit was afraid of her. right? So when she called the rabbit, "Please excuse me, sir," the rabbit was afraid of her. He ran into the garden. Alice felt hurt and began to cry. When she asked when she called the rabbit, she said in a very quiet, in a very low voice, "Please excuse me, sir." But the rabbit did not answer her, and he was afraid of her, so he ran into the garden. So the Alice, she felt hurt. She was hurt, and she began to cry. She took the key from the table and thought about what to do next. Now she took the key from the table, and she was thinking that what she could do next. All she wanted was a way out, but now she was stuck in this hall. Now she wanted to go out, right? But what happened was that she was stuck in this hall. All of a sudden, Alice felt like she was changing, and then Alice was again changing. I am smaller than before. Now Alice was much smaller. She was much smaller than before. As Alice said this, she found herself neck deep in salt water. Neck deep, she was drowned in the water, and that water was up to her neck. उसकी गर्दन तक पानी था, and she was in that water. First she thought she had fallen into the sea. Then she was thinking that she might have fallen into the sea because the water was too much. However, soon she discovered this was the pool formed by her tears. She had cried so much that that she created the pool of her tears. वो इतना रोई कि ज़मीन पे उसके आंसुओं का एक पूल बन गया था. I wish I hadn't cried so much, she thought as she swam around. फिर वो उसमें तैरने लगी. And she was thinking that she wished that she hadn't cried so much. Just then she heard a loud splash. She thought an elephant had fallen in the pool, but to her surprise it was a mouse. Then she heard a splash. She heard a loud splash, and she thought that the elephant might have fallen in the pool, but to her surprise she was surprised to see that it was not an elephant, but it was a mouse. She swam to the mouse and asked for help. Now she swam to the mouse and she asked mouse for the help. The mouse replied, "Come with me. I will show you the magic of the Wonderland." Now the mouse called her that, "Come with me and I will show you all the magics of the Wonderland." Alice was now excited and couldn't wait to see the tricks of this mysterious land. What is mysterious? Mysterious land means a land which has a lot of mysteries, which has a lot of surprises, right? So now the Alice, she was so much excited, and she could not wait to see all the surprises of the land. She knew that she was going to have many new exciting experiences. Now she knew that she is going to experience many new things. She could see the beautiful garden in the distance. Now she was so excited to see the mysterious land, the mysteries of the land, the surprises of the land, and she was thinking that now she could experience many exciting things, and she could see the garden, the beautiful garden in the distance, which was a little far away, which was in the distance. Who knew what could happen next in young Alice's life? Now, when she was sitting near the bank, no one knew. Even the Alice didn't know that what would happen to her life. That her life will give her so much surprises and so much exciting experiences. So this was all. Now we will move towards the meanings. Adventure. Now, what does adventure means? It means an exciting experience. Amazement. Amazement means a feeling of great surprise and wonder. Boredom. A state of feeling bored. When you are getting bored, it means the boredom. Conversation means the talk between two people. Discovered means found. Duchess means a rich lady. Feminine means the lady of duke. Frightened means afraid. Mysterious means difficult or impossible to explain or identify, right? Mysterious means when you are unable to explain it, that what kind of thing it is, or you can, in simple words, you can say that surprises. And tunnel is a long underground passage. So this was all for today. Your task for today is that you have to go through the whole story 2 to 3 times. The task for today is the reading. You have to read the story, and when you are done reading, underline the difficult words. I have explained the meanings of the difficult words in the lecture. So write down all those difficult words on your book and try to remember those words. Your task for today is just that you have to do the reading. And this was all for today. In the next lecture we will be doing the exercise. So this was all for today. We will be continuing the exercise in the next lecture. Take care of yourselves. Allah Hafiz.